Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the channel. I'm the Shotgun Shogun and this is the Training Grounds Beach Edition. Most of you have tried to pull for Seaside Belle. Some of you have gotten Seaside Belle. If you're here, chances are you have Seaside Belle and you are wondering, hey, how do I build this new Seaside Belle that I got while pulling for Rengar's drink? Well, I'm here to tell you how to build up this unit, what the best artifacts are, builds, multiple builds, where to use her, how to use her, and the rest. But let's get into some of her stats right now. So at 60 fully awakened, you are going to have about 1182 attack, 571 defense, 5299 health, 114 speed, which is pretty good. You're also going to end up getting 18% effectiveness out of your awakening tree. Now overall this is pretty good stats, especially for a ranger. Now the other thing with her is that she does have a health imprint for the front and the middle top. So this is actually really good because your front spot's going to end up being your tank spot, meaning that if you did get some imprints on this is going to help you out in things like Wyvern 13, where she is just super phenomenal, just an amazing unit for Wyvern 13. Self imprint is going to be effectiveness, but honestly I feel like effectiveness is a bit easier to get when you want to have the health for your frontline person, especially like I said in PvE standpoints. The health will also help out if you have, let's say you put an Alencia there or something along the lines in PvP as well. So getting into her skills, her first one is going to be Watch Out. Now this attacks the enemy with a fan with a 60% chance to target the enemy for 2 turns. Target, very important, increases your DPS, it reduces evasion chance, miss chance, elemental disadvantage, all of that phenomenal stuff. Now you can get up to a 75% chance for this, and honestly I would skill this up to at least that 75% chance, just because like I said, if you are going to be using her in things like like Wyvern, you are going to want to have that target on there for the debuff. Even in PvP, the target debuff will help with a lot of the follow-up. Not that SSB gets a lot of turns, and we'll talk about that as well in our how to build said unit. Now if you look down here at the bottom, gross 2 Mulgora goes, but that's because, well, you don't have as many in the second skill here. I'm with my friends. Now this shares 30% of damage suffered by the caster with the foremost ally. That's right, that's that first spot, meaning that this is going to help out because your imprint is going to give you that health on the first spot, but you're also going to be sharing your damage suffered with that unit. Now it gets a little weird if you were to put Seaside Belle up there, or after the first person dies, this damage share is negated, right? So it just poof goes away. So when she first came out, a lot of people were very concerned about this just because of the damage share is a little weird. When Seaside Belle very first came out, everybody was like, I don't really like this unit, I don't like a lot of the things that she does, stuff like that. But regardless, let's talk about this. When more than one damage sharing effect is granted, obviously the strongest one is applied. That means that Arius isn't going to help out along with this. So if you don't really need Arius for the other units on your team, it's better to run her with an adamant shield tank, right? Because you already got the damage share, you want to reduce that critical hit damage, everything like that. So that is going to be really good, and something you want to think about when you think about team composition. Now the caster gains 1 focus when an ally is attacked. When an ally is attacked and the caster's focus is 5, lose all focus and activate You're Not Cute. This attacks all enemies with a fan with a 50% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. Now, you really don't have to skill this up right away because it just adds extra damage, but this is kind of the bread and butter of Seaside Belle's kit. Typically you build Seaside Belle very slow, and you rely on the counter attacks, the S2 attacks, to do the vast majority of your damage. So this is very important, and honestly I would put this priority over finishing out like S1 because like I said, this is the bread and butter. This is the most annoying skill and weirdest, like funkiest skill in the game. So if you're getting hit by AoE, especially AoE, this is going to put 4 charges on this every single time you get hit by an AoE, which is really, really big, and is also probably one of the reasons why this is one of the most cancerous units in the entire game. Now, S3, haven't I warned you? As you can see, she does take quite a bit of MOA investments at the top end. However, to get like closer up, it's not as much. As you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 plus 4 on her S3. This is going to give you the effect chance. So attacks all enemies with a spray of water, with an up to 100% chance to make them unable to be buffed and unhealable for 2 turns. Damage increases, or damage dealt increases with a critical hit. So you are going to want to build her with at least a little bit of critical hit if you are relying on her S3. But again, this is going to be we're going to go into a lot of this in the build discussion, right? So this is one of those ones where you're going to at least want to get it up to +4 just for the increased effective chance, the cooldown, and then you can go further after you've gotten your S2 built out, because while you are going to get some S3s, S2 is it. So I would prioritize S2 or S3 to +4, S2, then finish S3, then go for S1, because like I said, you're not going to be getting a lot of S1s. Chances are you're going to be building her very, very slow-ish, right? So let's get into some of the artifacts that you're going to get for her. Now, if you were lucky enough to pull Rengar's Special Drink, this is hands down one of the absolute best artifacts in the game for her. Now, this, when attacking all enemies, if you have this maxed out, +30, has a 100% chance to inflict additional damage after attacking. Additional damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's attack. I believe it's 40% of attack, and it bypasses 70% of the target's defense. This is why things like Herber's Tooth and Rengar's Special Drink are very, very amazing. So with this, you don't actually you can just stack attack, and even if you don't crit, you're still going to be doing a lot of damage. It's going to bypass evasion, it's going to bypass defense, it's going to bypass a lot of mitigation, because like I said, it does bypass 70% of their defense, and this is what is usually the big killer. Now, the problem with this is that it happens after everything. So you could have like a Touch of Rekos or a Rowana heal, and they could beat a sliver, but the heal happens before the damage happens, meaning that you're probably not going to kill them, but you still are doing quite a bit of damage. Speaking of, Rowana is the natural predator of Seaside Bells. Now, this is an interesting one, and I have ran this previously in the past. If you weren't lucky enough to get a Rengar's Drink and you want to give yourself and your team a little bit more survivability, this is a very interesting artifact. We're talking about Bloodstone, and this heals the ally with the lowest health by 26% of damage dealt. Now, if you didn't get Rengar's, you are going to want to build her a little bit different. You're going to want to build her more like a normal DPS. Rengar's, you can just forget everything and just go straight attack. No crit damage, no whatever. It literally doesn't matter. When you are running things that aren't Rengar's, you're going to be wanting to run a little bit of a different build, right? But this is going to help your overall survivability, especially in PvP, and to a point in PvE too, right? Let's say you're having a little bit of trouble keeping yourself alive, keeping your tank alive in Wyvern 13. This can give you that little bit of edge, that healing that you need in order to finish out your runs. So this is one that you don't want to really overlook, and I have seen this used in quite a bit of interesting situations. I've tried using it in the past with like a weird lifesteal Seaside Belle. It was fun, it was interesting, definitely catches people off guard. The next one up is going to be Rosa Hargana, and this one is actually pretty good as well, especially if you don't have Drink, right? This is going to increase the dual attack chance by 14%, and it increases your attack by 30% when it's not the caster's turn. So that means if you're doubling up on those attacks, you're going to be hitting a lot harder, and you're going to be hitting more often. Just run 3-piece unity set, or 3-set unity on this Seaside Belle with Rosa, with infinity baskets on everybody else, and or Terraner Guard and just have all the double attack memes. Who needs Lilius when you can just run 3 Unity sets on everybody, right? Okay, next one up is going to be Sword of Judgment, and this one's a little bit not as good as some of the other ones. Sure, you do get a 20% chance to attack again with a basic skill when the target survives a single attack. This is going to be good for doubling up on the S1 and potentially putting more targets on, but I do think that some of the other ones are a little bit better overall. And if you are using Seaside Belle as a Wyvern slave, you are going to want to go with Daydream Joker. And you might be thinking, but why? Wouldn't some of these, like, wouldn't Drink or something else be way better? No, because Daydream Joker is going to give you the most overall damage out of your Seaside Belle. And if you're building Seaside Belle for Wyvern, you're going to want to be building her with crit damage and crit instead of everything else. But we will go over that because I do actually have 2 different Seaside Belles built for different things here. So we're going to take a look. Okay, so here is my PvP Seaside Belle, right? Let me get a little bit out of the way here so you can see some of my stats. So as you can see, I'm a little bit more on the thick side. I run this really weird broken, but I need the sub stats, right? So she's very, very slow. She's not getting a whole lot of turns, right? But we're really relying on the S2. Now you want the heft because Seaside Belle is a real big target. She's got a big, extra big target on her head because most people want to just take her out as fast as possible because she's super annoying with her S2 because defense break, damage, drink, chances are she's got high attack. I would like to get my attack a little bit higher than this, but I would have to sacrifice a lot of other things on this. I do have 100% critical hit chance just because I do like the extra damage that you get from the critical hit and the attack. I really don't have much in the way of critical hit damage. I am running a attack. Oh, I have a defense main neck here, but an attack here, typically that's because I needed some extra defense, right? And the substats are pretty okay on this. So you do want to build her a little on the tanky side. Sure, she does get damage share, but again, if you are a glass cannon, somebody like the Charles, Alencia, you know, a lot of these bigger heavy DPS as Spectre Tenebria, they're going to instantly destroy your Seaside Belle. So if you're trying to PvP with Seaside Belle, this is a much better build if you have Drink. Now, again, like I said, if you don't have Drink, you will want to fluctuate a little bit of that attack more into crit hit damage so that you balance things overall, especially with like her S3 doing more off of critical hit. You are going to want to make sure that you're balancing things out and not just going full attack while not doing much in the way of critical hit damage. This build right here relies on the plus 30 Drink. So you are still going to want to build yourself very tanky so that you don't just get dead, right? Especially like the other things too is you do want an immunity set. Unfortunately though, chances are you're going to get stripped by a Basar or Falconeer Quarry or something along those lines. But this build is going to give you the heft that you need to sustain, especially too if you bring her in against any sort of cleave team. She's going to be the first target because they don't want to take those S2s right to the face. Now again, you are going to want to put somebody nice and hefty right up there in the front spot so that you do get that damage share between the 2 units. Now going into Wyvern 13 build, and this is my just scuffed, I don't have any Molagoras invested in this. I went very high critical hit damage and speed because I want her to go before Alexis, so I speed tuned this. I could get a little bit more in the way of critical hit damage or attack, but I am running her with a Daydream Joker, and that is going to be, she's not there to do really much with effectiveness. She's there to wipe the first wave, and she's there to just do extra damage with her S2, S1, S3 onto the Wyvern itself. I have Alexa and Rengar with high enough effectiveness. But if you are running her for the debuffs, you are going to want to have a minimum of 65% effectiveness. Now, if we go back to my PvP one, you see I don't really have much in the way of effectiveness either. 38% is gonna hit most DPSers because they don't build effect resist, right? This is going to bypass the little bit of effect resist that they potentially have via, you know, just rando substats, stuff like that. So you're going to still have your 85% base chance. Now, you're not going to want to build enough effective resist to defense break support because you're going to have to go above and beyond, right? So this is going to, just a little bit of effectiveness in PvP is going to help you bypass some people who might have some effect resist substats, things like that. Again, it's one of those things where in higher tier PvP and even in lower tier PvP, like, supports are going to be building enough effect resist that you have to dedicate yourself to building effectiveness. Whereas like bruisers, tanks, DPS, they usually don't build much in the way of effect resist, so just having a little bit is usually more than enough. But going back to the Wyvern 13 Seaside Belle, this is going to be a similar build that you will want to do, just stat critical hit damage. Yeah, I have a little bit more critical hit chance than I need. You only need 85 because of elemental advantage, a little bit of speed. So typically the way that my build works is you have Rengar go first, then you have General Purges, who's going to put attack buff. Seaside Belle comes through and really hammers out, probably kills 1 to 2 of the first wave. And then you follow up Alexa S3. Then you have a whole cycle of units that are going to clean everything up. Then you go into the second round. Alexa still has her S2. Alexa pops off, poisons. Rengar does Rengar things. And you still probably lose because, you know, 15%, right? So those are a little bit of the builds. Now, like I said, I have seen people run lifesteal, which is actually good, especially if you come back up and you can get these similar types of stats, but in lifesteal, because like I said, you're going to be the target, right? You're going to be getting a lot of health back from your S2. If you run that plus you run Bloodstone, she's basically your dedicated healer, right? Because like I said, the Bloodstone's going to be healing for the lowest person off of the S2. Lifesteal is going to be healing off the S2. Lifesteal is going to be healing off the S1. Same with Bloodstone. Heals on heals on heals. And if you are sufficiently tanky, let's say you also have an adamant shield on the team, chances are you're not one-shotting her and she is just going to come back through and just go to town healing everybody, and you're just going to waste a lot of your time, especially if you do have another dedicated support healer, a DN, Ruel, an Amomo. If you're not, if you're not rocking all of those, Doris is really good to pair with her because you get continuous healing, you get defense buff. You can see our push her forward off of her S3, and then she can do a bunch of damage, plus her S3 heals for 50%. So the lifesteal build is very, very viable as well, especially if you want to run like a more unseen, unknown-ish Seaside Belle, because a lot of times when you see Seaside Belle, people are like, oh, this Seaside Belle is just going to do a crap ton of damage and I'm just going to get dead, so I need to like burst her down immediately. Let me go in on this. But it really demoralizes somebody when like their Charles comes through, double crits her, and she just kind of chuckles a little bit and then says, this is what you get for ruining my vacation. Now I have some stuff, some videos of like that, of me using Seaside Belle, especially like this Seaside Belle. I will link those down in the description below. But to recap, Drink is probably your best bet. If you don't have Drink, a Rosa Hargana or a Bloodstone are probably your second best options, with Rosa if you are going more of a damage build, and Bloodstone if you want to go more of a survivable sustain build. If you're running Drink, stack health, defense, and attack. That's really all you need on that. But if you are going with one of the other builds, you're going to want to have a bit more of a balanced damage. Now you are going to still want to stack a bunch of health, a lot of defense, and you are going to want to get like to a 100% critical hit chance. Now some people I see, they don't run any critical hit chance, it's just attack. Now that does have its bonuses in that you don't push Little Queen Charlotte forward, you don't get counterattacked by ML Ken if you don't crit, and it also bypasses any adamant shield reduction in damage. You just straight up do your attack damage. Personally, I do like the crits, but that's just me. I could probably move a little bit more around to get higher attack, but we'll see. I move a lot of things around on the regular. Prioritize your S2, S3, then S1. I do think, though, that Seaside Belle is one of the better investments to plus 15 in the game because she is so prevalent in just about everything. So there you go, guys. That is Seaside Belle. Get back to your vacation. Good luck to anybody who is still continuing to pull for her. And if you did pull her and Rengar's drink, congratulations as well. If you do get a second Rengar's drink, though, keep them separate because you can use bottles to plus 30, both of them. And I'm going to do some interesting things. I got a second one that it's going to take me a while to plus 30, but we'll plus 30 it, and I'm going to do some interesting things with this girl right here. Ignore that gear. She's just holding on to some stuff. Anyways, guys, as always, I'm the Shotgun Shogun. This is the Training Grounds. If you do like this content and you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell notifications, drop me a like and a comment down below. I will be doing more of these as people request them, and maybe we'll do more different outfits. I got my Hawaiian shirt on. I'm on vacation. It's nice outside, which, you know what, I'm gonna head on out there. As always, too, if you do want to help out the channel, I have a Patreon. Go follow me on Twitch, and just share this video out. You guys help me fight the YouTube algorithm. I'll catch you guys on the next Training Grounds. Take it easy, homies. Peace.
Cracky.